Double-sided desktop infinity mirror, made step by step. As you can see, we're glowing from the outside. This is all made from a 3D printing, and the idea was I wanted it to glow around the outside. Not so keen on the base glowing, but I could easily reprint that with a black. The sides were just with a couple of indents, or 3 indents if you like, 2 for the glass, 1 for the LEDs. The glass on the top and the bottom, and the LEDs just go in the indent in the side. We're printing it on the 3D printer. I had some supports that I just had to remove, which was the bottom next to the plate, the hotbed, so we remove them. I hate doing that job, but there you go, that's another one. So that's all done. Quick look around, a quick scan to make sure they're all out. Yep, that's the base being printed on the printer. Finished. Right, we'll see if the glass fits in the frame. That's 2mm plastic glass. Didn't want it any thicker. I've got it in stock, so we cut that to size, made sure it fitted. Just clipped in. I was going to put a little bit of super glue on the edge if I needed it. Looking at the base, I tried to do a standard base because I'm going to use it for different things, to change the LEDs, just messing about really. So like this is version 1. Adding the film to the glass, one of the jobs that one of these years I'm going to learn how to do properly. Doesn't seem to matter how much liquid I put on, I always seem to end up with bubbles, although this time I am putting it on very, very deep. I've got 3 layers of film. The reason for that is because when you put them up to the light, you can see that it actually dims the light down, and I didn't want the LEDs too bright. This is quite neat. 2 bits of tape. I always seem to struggle with that bit, but I saw that on the internet, and that works very well. So placing them on, I think this is that will be layer 1 obviously, and then one side I did with 2 layers, and the other side I did with 3. And I must say I was quite pleased with the way the reflection. When you put it up to the light, the actual 3 one was nearly, you couldn't hardly see any light coming through it. Although when you put it, as you'll see when we got it onto the frame, it was actually very good. It worked really well. I think, if I remember rightly, I got a depth on the 3 of 10 bulbs, but only 9 on the double-sided. Not that it really makes that much difference for 1 bulb, but it did subdue the light, shall we say, from inside, which is what it's all about. And it'll be more noticeable when you've got the coloured LEDs inside it. I think it will anyway. We'll see. That's a later one to come with. So, finalising the film. The LEDs were just the cheap 5 volt. I've got loads in stock, but there was all 12, and as I wanted it, battery. Didn't want to be thinking of a 12 volt battery. This is I forgot to put an hole in it. Well, I didn't really. I knew I'd have to put an hole for the lead, but it was easier just to do it afterwards rather than print it and then trying to break out the bits. A contact glue. This is purely because the adhesive on the back of the LEDs doesn't stick to PLA very well. Well, I don't know if it does anything else on that front, but for the sake of spreading a bit of glue around, that's not a problem. So that's all done, fitted quite well. Then we went to the base. No, we didn't. We then trimmed off the edge, put a new blade in my scalpel for that. No expense spared. He's a good looking fella, isn't he? Hey, bless him. Right, so that fitted a treat. Then we did the other side. Got that one all trimmed off. Just using the edge, obviously. The base, the hole, another hole put in. That was for the charger module. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're dirt cheap on eBay and that sort of thing. TP4T56. It's protection for overcharge and also to make sure you don't mess your battery up with using too much of the battery. Again, glued it in place. There will be a little bit of hot glue on the back of this, because obviously shoving the lead in and out, you end up making a mess of it, or being too heavy-handed. That's probably a better way of putting it. You know, with that micro lead, it's never the right way up. It doesn't seem, no matter how many times you put it in, it's either upside down or whatever. When you start shoving it in, that's going to break that away. So where my thumb is now, there'll be a lump of hot glue put in at some stage. And then we got the switch. This one I wanted to actually one of the little black slide switches, and I forgot to thin the wall on one end, which was the plan, but anyway, it didn't happen. So we thought we'd have to drill a massive hole in the side, but it didn't really make any difference. I think it's about 12mm the hole, so just put the switch in. It's a push on, push off switch, so ideal. Even screwed in, which was good. Put the nut on just for the fun of it, and then we're down to the battery. Bit of double-sided tape just to keep it in place. Again, I will put a bit of hot glue in either side of that, just to support it, stop it, because if you drop it, the tape won't last forever. A quick diagram of how we connected it up, and not rocket science, but if you don't know, you might as well see something. Soldering in the TP module. Probably should have done this out of the base, but anyway, it's solid, it's supported. As long as I didn't catch the soldering iron on the edge of the base so it melts it, that would be the biggest problem. Bit of twisting, bit of soldering. No real issues here, just space more than anything. Just being careful not to catch the iron on the plastic. Also, the base with the battery weights it down, so actually when it's finished, it's got quite a nice feel to the base, that it's heavy enough to withstand. I'm not going to say somebody pushing on it, but it won't fall over. Very often when you make things with 3D printing, the base is so light that you sort of slightest breeze and it falls over, but with the battery, and it's made it quite solid. I used a bit of super glue just around the edge. It was a good fit, so and I didn't really want it to be there forever, because I am going to break it off and make another version of the base. I'm going to make one in a dark, I haven't got any black, but I might buy some black PLA, and then see how it looks then, or even just a different colour. Yeah, and like I said, the super glue just stuck the glass in on the frame as well. Bit in each corner. Didn't want, like I say, if I ever want to go in and change it, I haven't really messed it up. Although I'm saying that if I did pull it out, to be fair, it would possibly pull the film off as well, which yeah, being very thoughtful there. Save the camera being blown out. I didn't do that earlier in the thing. Getting close now. I think it is. I haven't tested them LEDs. I hope that it's going to be a strip that actually works. It'd be just I thought it would just be my luck to have it all soldered up and then all glued up, to find that one of the LED didn't work, but anyway, we're 100%. There we go. Pop that in there. A little bit of super glue in each corner. Not the moment, but it did end up having the moment of truth. It worked, and there you go. The outer glow, I think, really does look nice, but I made it, so I would think it would. But one side, like I say, you've got 10. The other side, you've got 9 bulbs. I think you can just about count it off camera, but on that side. And like I say, don't particularly like the glowing base. That comes down to personal preference. Maybe if I printed another one off and it was dark or whatever, I might not like it that way. So so it might still end up being the clear PLA. So that was that. Then we took it in and put it on the windowsill. See what it liked in the. Like we'll be watching TV now, so this is how it looks in the lounge. On that side, then just lifted the blind up a little bit, and you can see the reflection on the other side in the mirror. And there we have it, a tabletop desktop infinity mirror. Goodbye.